Alright, I could have done this video really fancy, with a fancy camera and fancy editing and fancy lighting, but I've just decided to do it raw because this is just kind of a rant slash me giving my opinion on something, so it's like a vlog. Something's happening with Star Wars fans right now, and it's not good. There's a lot of awesome stuff happening with Star Wars right now. We have Episode 7 coming out, we've got a new TV show, lots of fantastic things. But honestly, some of the division I'm seeing in the fandom right now is the worst I have ever seen. There was some argument when the Clone Wars series first came out. Some fans really liked it, some didn't. Obviously, there was a lot of argument still left over when I got on the internet in like 2008. There was a lot of argument left over from the whole prequels versus originals thing. And that still kind of continues. But honestly, what I'm seeing right now is the worst that I've ever seen. At least on the internet. And hopefully it's just happening on the internet, because I can't imagine if it was spreading outside that. What's going on right now? There's a lot of groups and a lot of petitions and a lot of campaigns. And I'm not going to name a single group, a single petition, or a single campaign, because there are people fighting for these things that have good intentions. And the people who even made them could be of good intentions. But there are people pushing these campaigns that are part of these groups and that are signing these petitions that are just causing so much division. What am I talking about right now? I'm talking about the expanded universe. For those of you who don't know, when Disney took over Lucasfilm, when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, shortly afterwards, there was a decision made by the leadership at Lucasfilm, we do not know if Disney influenced or not, to diverge from the storylines in the novels and comic books and games in Star Wars. In Star Wars, there were multiple levels of canon before that. You had just the films and a Clone Wars TV show, and then you had a bunch of other stuff under that wasn't quite the same, but kind of was canon, kind of was fit in the continuity, and a lot of those things were books and comic books that took place after Episode 6. So, with new movies coming that took place after Episode 6, it made sense to kind of say, okay, the books don't really count anymore. The comic books don't. The novels don't. Because we want a clean slate for these new Star Wars films that are coming out. And so what Lucasfilm decided to do was take everything that really wasn't a movie or a TV show and say, these are legends. This is the mythology of Star Wars. It's not canon. It's not an official history of Star Wars. It's just a myth. It could be true. It could not be true. And it's like, you know, what the example that was given by Del Rey editor Shelley Shapiro. It's like the King Arthur of Star Wars. There probably was a King Arthur, but he probably didn't do all the things that he's said to have done. That's kind of what all the Star Wars books and comic books now are in the Star Wars universe. A lot of fans, probably a vocal several hundred of them, and probably a few thousand feel like this but aren't vocalizing it, were really attached to those books. And they wanted to see the stories of the characters in those books continue. And they didn't like the idea that there would be a clean slate and that there would be new stories that would kind of override that. And that all the stories that they loved were relegated to just myths and not actual history. And so what they started doing was making petitions and groups and starting campaigns to get Disney and Lucasfilm to change their mind and do one of several things. One, just have all of the stories that have ever been made in the Star Wars universe count as canon and have nothing contradict that, which would mean any new films would have to fit in line with whatever's said in the books, or the comic books, or the games. That's the most extreme version. And then another is just for there to be two canons. for the legends and myths to continue and continue telling the stories as a mythology that were being told before, alongside the new history that's being made. So you end up with two timelines almost. So those are the two things that they've kind of been trying to get. And both of them are kind of not realistic for a lot of reasons. One, why would Disney take all just comic books and novels, and there's hundreds of them, if you count comic books, thousands, and make sure that every single thing they did fit to that? Like, there's no other franchise that has that type of continuity. Not Star Trek, not Marvel, not DC. So why Star Wars? And secondly, on top of that, why would they continue those stories while they're making new ones that would contradict with that? It would be really confusing to have two alternate timelines going on. It would be very confusing and strange. Yet, maybe I can kind of see as a consolation to fans, maybe just give them a little bit of closure with some of those stories. Some of the arcs that they were in the middle of, finish them, write the final novels in the series, write the final issues of the comic books. I can see that as a consolation, as kind of like a thank you to the fans. So because of that, if you just want there to be new stories in the expanded universe, continuations of the stories that have been kind of canceled out now, or even if you are one of the people that think that the new films and TV shows should all fit with everything else that's written before, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with you joining these groups and joining these campaigns and signing these petitions. That's fine. You have the right to express your opinion, and if enough of you have that opinion, hopefully Disney will listen. And I encourage that. Because if there are literally millions of people who want to read continuations of the books that have kind of, the stories have been stopped, then they should probably put out them. Financially, it makes sense for them if there's such a demand. Here's the problem that I have. For some reason, these campaigns, these groups, these petitions have kind of taken on a twist, a little bit, almost a dark side to this idea, this movement to protect and preserve the expanded universe and continue it. And that is, for some reason, everybody who hates Disney, who hates all the new stuff, even before they've seen it, that's going to be coming out with Disney, they've decided to join these groups too and be a part of these campaigns. So you have a mix, and it's almost 50-50. You have half the people who kind of like everything and are fine with what Disney's doing, but they just want to see it done in a certain way. And then you have half the people who are part of this movement who are doing it not just because they love the expanding universe and want to see it continue, but because they hate Disney. And they hate the Clone Wars, or they hate Star Wars Rebels, and they don't want to see it. And they don't want to see Episode 7 and all this stuff. And what's happened is these groups have become hate groups. And it's horrible for the people who are actually conducting themselves in a very polite and professional manner, because there's just such a huge amount of people that are surrounding them that are spewing out hate as part of this campaign, that it's just the sane voices are being drowned out. And it seems like almost like the legacy of this movement to bring back the expanded universe is being put forth by people who are haters. And it's a hate group. And you go to these groups, and all you see are arguments, infighting, people who like everything Star Wars versus people who just like the expanded universe and maybe the films and think all the new stuff is horrible. And it's hard. So what has happened is, inside this movement, you've gotten this division, and it's like a nucleus of several hundred people always constantly fighting and banning each other and blocking each other and saying horrible things about each other. People who don't really necessarily even know each other, just saying this online. And if it's extended to people outside the internet, then that's even sadder. I hope it's not gotten to that point. So That's why I'm making this video. I'm making this video, first of all, to raise awareness that this is happening. And secondly, if you're watching this video as a plea, do everything you can to stop this. Everything you can. Because this could get out of control. This could, this could split Star Wars fandom down the middle. And Star Wars fandom has always been such an inclusive fandom where it's like, you know what, even if you love just one thing in Star Wars, we include you. You like the games? Welcome to the family. You like the TV show? Welcome to the family. The movies? Great. You like the books? Great. And people are allowed to express their opinions about what they like and dislike, but they don't go after each other very often for their likes and dislikes. But here you have a group of people who literally will belittle people if they like something they personally dislike. And I know from firsthand experience, because I like the Clone Wars. I'm excited for Star Wars Rebels. I'm a big fan of Dave Filoni's work. And if I go into any of these groups and say, hey, I like the EU, I think it would be interesting to see it continued. I support your cause, or at least I'm not against your cause. But also you need to know that, unlike you, I still like the new stuff that's coming out. I like everything. If I go in and say that, and I have, you get people just calling me a troll, a traitor, just making fun of me, calling me, like, jeering at me, calling me, like, Filoni Jr. was, like, a quote. I mean, making fun of me for liking something other than the expanded universe. And it's just shocking and sad that such an amazing, wonderful fandom and family that is Star Wars fans, that this is happening. So I just urge anyone, yeah, even if you dislike the new stuff, don't be that person. Don't be that person that is dividing Star Wars fandom apart right now. Just, you're allowed to express your opinions, but don't belittle other people for having theirs as well. You can say you don't like the Clone Wars, you can say you don't like the direction Star Wars Rebels is going in, that's fine. But don't make fun of somebody or talk someone down or troll somebody because they like it. Because what if they were doing the same about, how would you feel if they disliked the expanded universe and said the same things about the books that you loved? Because I like the Clone Wars just as much as you like, the Thrawn trilogy. So just reverse it. So that's really what to say. I hope that this video makes a little bit of a difference, even if it changes one person. Again, one person could change it all, because this is in its infancy right now. This has only been going on for maybe a few weeks, a few months, not that long. And any shift could be a monumental shift until it really starts gaining momentum and gets into thousands upon thousands of people, and then it's going to be too late. So that's what I needed to say. Thank you for listening to what I needed to say. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me about them. And yeah, may the Force be with us, because we need it.